In early 2025, the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, burst onto the scene, not as a traditional agency, but as a Trump-ordered task force with a single mission: take a sledgehammer to federal bureaucracy and shake up Washington like never before. This wasn't just another committee destined to gather dust. It was a radical experiment born out of frustration with decades of government inertia and inefficiency. Its goal: slash waste, modernize outdated tech, and force Washington to operate like a lean startup. Doge was tasked with dragging the federal government into the 21st century, cutting through red tape and bureaucracy that had piled up for generations. For decades, presidents promised to cut government fat, but Doge was designed to bypass gridlock with sweeping authority to audit, recommend cuts, and report directly to the White House. Unlike past efforts, this task force had teeth and a direct line to the Oval Office. Staffed by tech disruptors, not career bureaucrats, Doge treated government inefficiency as an engineering problem, not a political one. The team was hand-picked from Silicon Valley, bringing fresh eyes and a relentless drive to innovate. Their deadline: July 2026. The clock was ticking and every day counted. The pressure was on to deliver real results fast. The initiative was a direct play to Trump's base, proof he was serious about draining the swamp. It was a bold promise, and now the world was watching to see if he could deliver. Even the name, a wink to Dogecoin, signaled this was no ordinary government project. It was a nod to internet culture, a signal that this was a new era of reform, one that didn't take itself too seriously but was dead serious about results. The mission: run government like a ruthless tech company, not a bloated bureaucracy. Efficiency, speed, and innovation were the new marching orders, replacing the old ways of doing business. The public, tired of waste, was ready for a shake-up. Across the country, citizens demanded accountability and real change, not just empty promises. But to pull it off, Doge needed a leader who embodied disruption. Enter Elon Musk, the ultimate outsider, a visionary with a track record of shaking up entire industries. If anyone could make government move at the speed of innovation, it was him. The Trump administration wasn't just looking for a manager, they needed a symbol, a lightning rod who could capture the public's imagination and signal a new era of disruption in Washington. Enter Elon Musk, tech mogul, serial entrepreneur, disruptor, and now the unexpected face of Doge. His reputation for shaking up industries made him the perfect candidate to shake up government itself. Officially, Musk was an unpaid special government employee, a title that sounded modest. But in reality, he was handed the reins, making decisions that would ripple across the country and beyond. His appointment electrified the mission, drawing global attention, dominating headlines, and lending instant credibility to the administration's bold new direction. For Musk, this was more than a job. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to fix what he saw as the world's most broken system, the US government. He relished the challenge, seeing it as the ultimate engineering problem. But controversy followed immediately. Critics flagged glaring conflicts of interest. After all, Musk's companies were already major government contractors, and now he was in a position to influence policy. Watchdogs and analysts warned he could shape regulations to benefit his own empire, raising questions about ethics and transparency. Musk, however, brushed off the criticism, insisting he was motivated by a sense of patriotic duty and a desire to serve the country. Trump got what he wanted: a celebrity figurehead who could command attention. Musk, in turn, gained a government-sized sandbox to test his wildest ideas and push boundaries. Musk had already spent hundreds of millions supporting Trump and GOP candidates. Now he wasn't just a donor, he had real power and a direct line to the Oval Office. Their alliance was built on a shared outsider status and a mutual desire to upend the establishment, to rewrite the rules of American politics and governance. For Musk, this was the ultimate test. Could he make government run with the speed, efficiency, and innovation of a business, or would the system break him first? The stage was set for a collision of egos, ambitions, and visions for America's future, one that would captivate the world. Musk didn't tiptoe into Doge. He stormed in, wielding a metaphorical chainsaw at CPAC and promising to hack away at bureaucracy. His first move: a massive buyout program for federal employees. followed by abrupt layoffs and firings that sent shockwaves through Washington. Some fired staff were rehired as contractors, sidestepping civil service protections and fueling criticism. Musk's leadership style, urgent, brash and data-obsessed, clashed with government norms, but forced agencies to respond faster than ever. He brought his son to meetings, dominated cabinet discussions, and demanded results on impossible timelines. Doge overhauled hiring, requiring loyalty essays from new applicants, a move blasted as politicizing the civil service. For Musk, it was about aligning everyone to the mission. For critics, it was a dangerous power grab. The message was clear: adapt or get out. The controversy was just beginning. Doge's strategy was twofold: slash government spending to the bone and drag outdated government technology into the 21st century. The plan was bold, even audacious, and it sent shockwaves through Washington. Musk set a wild savings goal: $2 trillion a year, later revised to $1 trillion, by auditing every contract, scrutinizing every line item, and demanding justification for every dollar spent. Anything deemed non-essential was on the chopping block. Woke policies and DI contracts were axed, saving billions, but also eliminating programs that some argued were vital for equity and inclusion. The cuts sparked outrage from civil rights groups and activists, who accused Doge of gutting protections and support for marginalized communities. Foreign aid was slashed dramatically, with Doge arguing the money was better spent at home, funding domestic priorities and infrastructure. The tech overhaul was just as ambitious: digitize mountains of paperwork, modernize ancient systems, and unify government data for the first time. Teams of IT specialists worked around the clock to unify data, break down bureaucratic silos, and create a seamless digital backbone for government operations. The goal was to automate everything possible with AI and cloud computing, making government services faster, more efficient, and accessible from anywhere. The ultimate aim: make government as easy to use as a smartphone app. Officially, Doge claimed $175 billion in savings by May 2025, but independent audits found far less, about $32.50 billion, fueling criticism that the numbers were inflated and the benefits oversold. The gap between promise and reality became a central controversy, but the push for modernization was undeniable, reshaping how government worked for millions. For months, Musk and Trump were a disruptive duo, until a tax and spending bill drove them apart. The bill slashed taxes but hiked military spending, ballooning the deficit, everything Musk opposed. Musk, committed to fiscal discipline, saw it as a betrayal of Doge's mission. Instead of keeping quiet, he blasted the bill on X, calling it reckless and irresponsible. Trump fired back online, questioning Musk's loyalty and effectiveness. The public feud captivated the nation and signaled Musk's days in Washington were numbered. It was more than policy, it was a clash of worldviews: Musk the engineer versus Trump the dealmaker. Their partnership, built on disruption, couldn't survive the collision. The fallout was swift. Musk's government experiment was coming to an end. The feud made Musk's position untenable. Days later, the White House announced his departure. Trump staged a theatrical farewell, giving Musk a golden key and calling him an informal advisor. But the split was real. Musk cited a need to refocus on Tesla and SpaceX, as investors worried his political antics were hurting business. The online spat reignited, exposing deep rifts and ending any pretense of an amicable exit. Musk's time in government was over, undone not by bureaucracy, but by a power struggle with the president. He'd shaken up Washington, but couldn't bend it to his will. The question lingered: what would become of Doge without its architect? The answer was already taking shape. Musk was gone, but his revolution remained. Doge's young tech recruits embedded themselves in agencies, shifting from a headline-grabbing task force to a quiet, permanent force for change. Musk's inner circle, engineers, lawyers, cost-cutters, now held key government roles, driving efficiency and digital transformation from within. Initiatives like Defend the Spend and AI-driven modernization at the IRS and Social Security Administration carried the Doge torch. The mission was now decentralized, more powerful and enduring than Musk's top-down style. These new leaders weren't seeking headlines, they were quietly rewriting the rules. Doge's philosophy was now woven into the fabric of government. The disruption had become the new normal. Doge's legal foundation was shaky from the start, challenged by unions, watchdogs, and state attorneys general. Lawsuits claimed Doge was an unconstitutional overreach, bypassing Congress and transparency rules. Courts blocked some actions, like firing employees without due process, but the Supreme Court ultimately upheld Doge's core authority. Public opinion split along partisan lines. Most Americans liked the idea of efficiency, but Musk himself remained polarizing. Despite claims of rooting out fraud, Doge produced little evidence of major criminal wrongdoing. Critics argued it was more about dismantling government and rewarding allies than fighting corruption. The legal and political battles kept Doge in the headlines and controversy swirling, yet the mission survived, protected by executive privilege and embedded loyalists. Even as lawsuits raged, Doge's influence grew behind the scenes. Its legacy was now a matter of fierce debate. As the dust settles, Doge's impact is mixed. The trillion-dollar savings never materialized, and the deficit remains. But Doge shattered bureaucratic inertia, forced accountability, and shrank the federal workforce. The government is leaner, more politicized, and run by a new generation of tech-savvy insiders. AI audits and digital services are now standard practice, Doge's real legacy. Musk lost the public battle, but his philosophy endures in the bureaucracy. The mission proved both the promise and peril of Silicon Valley disruption in Washington. The government may never be the same, and the quiet revolution continues.